so being, the state as it exists as an unnatural, unliving, embodied entity. It does nothing but consume, trample, and destroy everything in its path, right? And it uses humanity as a vessel to do so. What is the other thing then? What is it out there consuming? What would and what were humans before? What are you outside of the state? What are people? What is a community outside of the state? Humans existing in a state of nature. Oh, a modern human been on the scene 300,000 years. Um, all of like fire use, ritual burial, instruments, musical instruments, art, uh, all of like our plant knowledge, leather working, stone, the entire stone toolkit, all predates modern humans. That all goes back to at least Homo erectus. You know, a million years of humans and pre-humans existing in a state of nature, in balance with their environment, not trying to force other people what to do or how to live, not trying to extract things, consume and take and have the most, and hoard more than they need. Just living for that long. 300,000 years after we come on the scene and inherited everything. Didn't have to build any of that. We could just live. It's only been in the last 10,000 years or so that states and empires have cropped up. Everything has went to shit since then. And the propaganda that the state puts out to protect itself against the past and the natural way of doing things is telltale. If the state is so superior and living in a modern society is such a better way, why do they go so far out of their way to demonize it? Second book reference. Michael Solon's Stone Age Economics. Most everything that everybody thinks about the past and the way things were, I like to call it the Flint Age, pre-state societies. It is inaccurate. Vast amounts of propaganda put towards making people think that primitive man lived on the edge of starvation. They were constantly just living in these crappily insulated hovels, and just having a rough time with it, and that everybody was dying all the time, and life expectancy was low, and just disease ridden, and scarcity, uh, no progress. The story that's put in your head. About primitive man, that they just kind of existed and struggled and weren't able to do anything, process in society for all those years. They just did nothing because they couldn't, because they were just having a hard time with it. Until somebody sat down and decided to build walls and force people to grow grain and hoard it, and everything got better. It's all a myth. There's absolutely no evidence for any of that, and there's abundant evidence against it. Like I said, Michael Solom's Stone Age Economics. There was vast abundance, vast natural abundance, far more resources than we could ever possibly use. Gather all we needed and still leave most of it to lay on the ground. People had a good time, developed art, culture, told stories, lived life, had great wealth in that way. Like the way we look at indigenous cultures now, just a vast wealth of culture, because they didn't need to hoard resources, build giant monuments. Quite the opposite of the way that they would have you believe it to be. And there's a very good reason for that. And it's the same reasons that Anprims like me are belittled and ridiculed, often even within anarchist circles. Is because we ask that question of, okay, if the state is actually pretty damn bad and unnatural, and the past has actually been demonized, and a natural, living in a natural state as humans within our ecosystem is really actually the way to go. Why all the big issue? But we're made to sound very unreasonable. But it's really the only way. That's why it worked for so long. Return to indigenous stewardship, removal of state systems. It's going to take a lot of work, but it's very doable. The issue is the embodied entity of the state fights back. And since it's not actually a thing, it fights back through you guys, and through me, and through us, through society, and the way we interact with each other. It's just massively unhealthy. And so, yeah, I think that's a pretty decent primer so far on the basics. I've been rambling. Before I actually start to dig into what we got going now, with Grants Pass and the Supreme Court and Christofascism in America, where we're headed, and what I actually think how we go about implementing return to a simpler society, I guess, and some of the trouble we're in